Hello friends, hope you're well. Welcome to this week's Dirt Report. We have some big stories for you today, so let's get straight into it. In this episode, we have Telstra being even worse than the usual Telstra, fake Zoom info cripples a hedge fund, COVID safe, data not so safe after all, and on the international tidbits, we have Amazon in hot water again. When are they not? Thanks for jumping in. Make sure to like this video if you did, and subscribe to not miss out on any Aussie tech news. Let's roll the intro. If anybody's wondering, this is a hockey shirt. I really love it. Just bought it the other day, so that's why I'm wearing it. Let's start with the ACcC, and this week they're going after Telstra for what the ACcC has called unconscionable conduct. And you may be wondering what kind of conduct weren't such a strong word that I have trouble pronouncing. Well, let me explain. In a statement this week, the ACcC announced they have started federal court proceedings against Telstra after they themselves admitted they breached the Australian consumer laws, with penalties totaling $50 million being imposed by the court. Between January 2016 and August 2018, 5 official Telstra branded stores signed up 108 Indigenous consumers to multiple post-paid mobile contracts which they did not understand and could not afford. The Telstra stores took advantage of an already marginalized group of people with mobile plans that are already confusing and generally, with Telstra, really expensive. They signed them up into multiple contracts in a single day, and these consumers ended up with an average debt of $7,400 just for mobile plans. In fact, one person has $19,000 in debt and another used their superannuation to pay their debt back to Telstra. ACcC Chair Rod Sims put it bluntly. This case exposes extremely serious conduct which exploits social, language, literacy and cultural vulnerabilities of these Indigenous consumers. Now, as per usual, Telstra executives team had no idea, had no systems in place to detect or prevent this type of conduct, but they have plenty of systems to overcharge you and add ridiculous fees. So in a statement, the ACcC outlined the extremely disturbing details of these events. Many of the consumers spoke English as a second or third language, they had difficulties understanding Telstra's written contracts, and many were unemployed and relied on government benefits or pensions as the prime source of their limited income. Some lived in remote areas where Telstra provided the only mobile network, which was a likely reason as to why they couldn't go anywhere else. Now, in some cases, sales staff at the Telstra licensed stores did not provide a full and proper explanation of consumers' financial exposure under the contracts, and in some cases, falsely represented that consumers were receiving products for free. In many instances, sales staff also manipulated credit assessments so consumers who otherwise may have failed the credit assessment could enter into post-paid mobile contracts. This included falsely indicating that a consumer was employed when they were not. I wonder which chapter of the Telstra induction book that's in. So now what? Well, Telstra has agreed to the $50 million in penalties. It is now a matter for the court to decide whether these penalties are appropriate. Rod Sims added that Telstra is Australia's largest telecommunication provider. It has clearly failed to meet community expectations for appropriate business behaviour. This case is a reminder to all businesses to ensure that they comply with the Australian consumer law in their dealings with all consumers, especially vulnerable consumers in regional or remote communities. I have linked the ACcC statement below for you to read in more detail. Let me know below if you think $50 million is enough of a penalty for such behaviour, and if you've experienced something similar from Telstra or other telcos in Australia, let me know below. Let's move on. A fake Zoom invite has led to the closure of Levitas Capital, a hedge fund investment company out of Sydney. So Zoom is a great tool, but in the wrong hands it's extremely dangerous. And in this case, it caused damage that is beyond repair and not just the money side of things. The fake Zoom invitation caused the trustee and administrators to approve $8.7 million worth of fraudulent invoices. And who can be to blame, you may ask? Well, it turns out that it came right from the top. A cybersecurity firm determined a fake Zoom invite was opened by either Michael Brooks or Michael Fargan, who co-founded the businesses. With the newly found access to the company's emails, the hackers sent off fraudulent invoices to companies the fund has never previously dealt with. There seemed to be no checks on the balances, and things escalated quickly until Mr. Fargan was checking to see if money from the super fund had been deposited into Levitas Commonwealth Bank account when he noticed more than $8 million was missing. Interestingly of all, Mr. Fargan did receive a call from the fund administrators to verify their transactions, but he told them he'd be in touch later to approve because he was working on that six-pack at the gym. Now, once he realized the problem, he tried to stop the transfer, managing to stop 5 million sent to Singapore Bank and 2.5 million sent to Hong Kong, but he was too late to stop an earlier transfer. Finally, out of the loss of trust in Levitas Capital, their biggest client, Australian Catholic Super Fund, withdrew a $16 million investment, which meant they had to close up shop. New South Wales police are investigating, but this is a part of a larger issue with many other Australian financial institutions being hit by ransomware, hackers, and many are looking to the Australian government for their cybersecurity plans, which are kind of flimsy at the moment. So let's move on to our next story. And unfortunately for the name, COVID safe does not keep your data that safe. Well, sort of technicality, you know. This week, the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence and Security supplied a report to the Australian Information Commissioner all about our lovely COVID tracing app. I have linked the document below for your reading pleasure. And it looks like the ASIO and ASD collected some data from the COVID safe app. Now, this was all covered under the Privacy Act because it was to do with the executions of warrants, so it should be nothing to fear. This happened in the first 6 months of the app going live. The data was captured incidentally, meaning that it was not possible or not practical to collect data covered by the warrant without also inadvertently collecting COVID-safe app data. The Inspector General of Intelligence Security said it will continue to investigate the case and make sure the data collected is deleted quickly as required under the Privacy Act, as potential penalties of up to 5 years in jail do apply. It makes sense in the scheme of things, but it's interesting that these stories keep cropping up over time. I also didn't expect it to be the last one either. Let me know below your thoughts. Time to jump into our international tidbits, so make sure to like this video if you did and subscribe to see more. So finally, our last story. And Amazon is facing backlash after forcing their Alexa devices to be automatically opted into their footpath feature. And what is footpath, you may ask? Well, it is an opt-out feature that will connect Echo, Ring, and other Alexa devices to each other across an entire neighborhood, house to house. And so you can imagine the backlash is on privacy. The footpath system uses Wi-Fi from each home to create a shared network that helps devices work better. It works like a mesh network almost. These bridge devices share a small portion of your internet bandwidth within the pool together to provide these services to you and your neighbors. And when more neighbors participate, their network becomes even stronger. So imagine if your Wi-Fi disconnected at your home, but your devices could still send notification of who's at your front door because it uses your neighbor's Wi-Fi to do so. But overall, this feels very odd, and not knowing where your device is connected to and how your data is flowing, we're already concerned with that these devices are hearing what we say in the home, and now there seems to be a new avenue for hackers to get in on the action. Let me know your thoughts below. Are you up for creating a mesh network with your neighbors? It's kind of cool, I suppose, but the fact that Amazon is forcing you, it's kind of odd. And on that tech bomb, I bid you goodbye. Make sure to like this video if you did and subscribe if you'd like to see more and support this channel. Thanks for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you all in another one. Bye!